News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Well, we have quite the flip and flop again, because I don't know if you are familiar with Kamala's positions. Most people are not, because they have changed overnight. And the very left-leaning Axios publication just doing an article on that today. And it's quite interesting. The latest position that she has changed is banning plastic straws. Yes, she very much stood for banning plastic straws, said it publicly in front of the world on the debate stage just 4 years ago, I believe it was. Here we go.
Leaders have to lead, and
plastic straws are a big thing right now.
Yeah.
Do you ban plastic straws?
I think we should.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. It's really difficult to drink out of a paper straw when if you don't gulp it down immediately, it starts to bend.
Yes.
And then, the little thing catches it. And then, so we got to kind of perfect that one a little bit more.
You're going to make me the leader of the free world. Oh, imagine the press conferences with her and, whoever you want to name. I don't know, Benjamin Netanyahu, although she blew him off when he came and spoke to our Congress, even though she presides over the Senate. Imagine her up there in a press conference with Bibi. And Bibi just has to sit there and wow. So, I mean, I was watching a series with my wife last night, and you had one of these super leftist, wealthy young ladies, and she's like, "Well, I don't believe in plastic straws. I mean, I can't believe you were drinking out of a plastic straw. The turtles." That was a lie made up by a 9-year-old boy, and it was never proven to be true. In fact, plastic straws are good for the environment, and there are no turtles with straws up in their noses. The whole thing was a lie. You can look it up yourself. But there she is to stop it. She also supports in that same gathering of debate or town hall, supports banning red meat, limiting our eating of red meat. But let's just stick with what they laid out for us today, because the big question I have for you on this are, Axios, a leftist publication, now laying out all of her flip-flops, 9 of them that they can keep track of. And you remember, she actually said at the CNN interview, in CNN 16-minute interview she gave, the only one she has given in the entire, 48 days of running, announcing that she's running for president after Joe was pushed out by her and the Democrats. She said, "My values haven't changed." And I could play it for you. She said it 2 or 3 times in the 16-minute interview. That's 2 or 3 times in 16 minutes is a lot of times. So her values haven't changed, but now she tells us she is not for banning plastic straws. Isn't that amazing? She said it through, well, here we go. She didn't say it personally. A campaign official told her. She's never said anything on paper. She's never said anything publicly. Just like all these other things, except for a couple, she doesn't say it. Her aides anonymously, their names are not unknown. We don't know who these people are. They are the ones delivering the news that she has changed on 9 major issues, including now today. It's amazing. Plastic straws being banned. Now, if she changed everything overnight when she was handed the presidency, the question is, who is she? What is her character? Does she have character? I'm going to blitz through the quick list of all the different things she shifted on. So today the new one is banning plastic straws. Then all of a sudden, a day or so ago, she was for a massive EV mandate. You have to buy an EV that is, $10,000 more than your regular automobile, and will be a disaster when it comes to fixing, repairs, replacing the battery in 5 years. The cost is astronomical. It's unbelievable. And you'll also have to deal with losing 40% of your charge when it's cold or when it's hot, which is 3 months out of the year, at least, if not 4. She has changed her position on banning fracking, that she so steadfastly said. She also is now against taking away our guns with a mandatory buyback. Hey, we're going to show up at your door and take all of your guns from your home, but we'll give you some cash. She changed that. Isn't that unbelievable? She now supports all of us being armed to the gills. And she went from taking them away at the end of a barrel of a gun with law enforcement at your door to now saying, keep them. You keep those guns. I don't even know if she's ever held a gun in her hand or fired one. I really don't. I really doubt it. Maybe she has, but I doubt it. I really doubt it. But anyways, it doesn't matter. She wants to take them away. Now she doesn't. Decriminalizing the border. Making illegals legal. She also, I don't know if she's denounced saying the ISIS KKK and that ISIS KKK and she wants to abolish ICE, but she is. She also was for reparations for slavery. Now she's changed her mind. How could you have a radical sea change like some of these? And then here we go, building a wall on the southwest border. She ripped it to shreds. You're not going to believe what she said. I'll share you the words and the slogans and the things she said. It is insane what that woman has said for 30 years about the border and the wall, how bad it is and horrible, and how she laughed at it and made fun of it. Now she wants to have it. Remember, her values haven't changed. She also had a federal jobs guarantee. You get it. If you want a job with the government, you get one. That's it. You just get you a job. She now, as part of the new Green Deal proposal, she co-sponsored this radical leftist new Green Deal takeover. She was the casting tie for the Inflation Reduction Act that Joe Biden just yesterday said we should have called it something else because it doesn't do that. It's a Green Deal. And she was she cast the tie vote. She now is against free jobs for anybody that wants one with the federal government, just created out of whole cloth. She's also wanted to destroy our private health insurance. She said it repeatedly on the stage. I can play it for you 4 years ago. And now all of a sudden, now she says, no, I'm against it. So, I mean, do you understand that I don't even know anything that she's not changed her mind on. She will continue Joe Biden's profligate spending and deficit debt and high inflation and high regulation. She will do that. Other than that, I don't know what. It's amazing. I think she also is consistent in wanting to bring in 12 more million or 14 more million illegals over the next 4 years. That we know. Haven't heard her say anything about that. But here's my thing. Here's my questions for you. Do you believe Kamala's changing of all these positions is actually authentic? Or is it contrived? And what does this say about who she is, her character? Because to me, if you flipped up everything 46 days ago or 48 days ago, and you only announce it now after you have 46 days after announcing you're running for president, do you have character? How would you describe Kamala's character? All right, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Chime in right now. Lines wide open, 800-288-WBAP. Do you believe Kamala's changing of all these positions is actually authentic, or is it contrived? That is to say, of course, made up. And what does this say about who she is, her character, if she flipped on and like everything almost? And how would you describe Kamala's character, knowing that she's radically reversed on millions of things, small and large? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I'll play some of the hits. I have every one of these. It's still pinned to the top of my Twitter feed, at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, same handle, at Chris Crock Show, CHRISKROK. This is still at the top because it literally shares every position she's flip-flopped on and the audio to match it. Abolishing ICE, decriminalizing illegal crossings, defunding the police, she wants to defund them, mandatory gun buybacks, nationalizing the energy grid, banning fracking, banning offshore drilling, abolishing the filibuster, which means you can push through any law in the Senate instead of 60. You can push law with only 51 votes. Supporting the Green New Deal, ending private health insurance, free health care for all illegals and everybody, amnesty for illegals, ending the death penalty, abolishing prisons, ending cash bail, ending mandatory minimum sentences, imposing a carbon tax, child gender reassignment surgery and hormone replacement therapy, absolutely, and also paying for sex changes in hospitals. She spearheaded that in California. She pushed it through. This woman's amazing. She's a miracle. She's had a radical transformation from a radical leftist, a liberal, a liberal's liberal in the most liberal community in the entire country, San Francisco, to now being the next iteration of former President Hussein Obama. Behold, your new version of hope. All right, so that's what I want to hear from you. And here's the other thing, too. Her crime stuff, she's running ads that say she's tough on crime. Wait till you hear what the former chief of police in San Francisco says, because she was the DA there for years. Wait till you hear what the former sheriff who was in Sacramento County, as she was the Attorney General of California. Wait till you hear what they say about all these things she says now about tough on crime versus her decades in California as a prosecutor. It's stunning what they say about how bad she is on law enforcement, and they ridicule what she says. All of them in San Francisco. All right, that is coming up next. Chris Kroc on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Our number is 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Two lines open.
A lot of the signs at the rally you just held were people standing there saying, abolish ICE.
Yeah.
Is that a position that you agree with?
Listen, I think there's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE and its role and the way that it is being administered and the work it is doing. And we need to probably think about starting from scratch. Criminal enforcement. Wrong.
Does that mean you support?
I believe if someone crosses over the border, it is illegal, and you would decriminalize it.
I would not make it a crime punishable by jail. It should be a civil enforcement.
Proposal like what we've seen in Los Angeles, Mayor Eric Garcetti saying, take some of the money from policing, about $150 million.
I applaud Eric Garcetti for doing what he's done. You know, for far too long, the status quo thinking has been to believe that by putting more police on the street, you're going to have more safety. And that's just wrong.
So, I mean, it goes on and on and on. I've got about 10 more mandatory gun buybacks, banning fracking. It just goes on and on. And now she's against everything suddenly. So the questions are, do you believe Kamala's changing of positions is authentic or contrived? What does that say about who she is, her character? And how would you describe Kamala's character from what you know now and what you've seen before? We got Brooke in Frisco, Eddie in Weatherford, plus three lines open at 800-288-WBAP for you, 800-288-9227. As promised, first, a quick hit on Kamala, now slammed as she talks about being tough on crime in her ads now as a prosecutor. Tough. She's slammed by California lawmakers and ex-cops saying she's rewriting history. One says she was a champion of San Francisco sanctuary policy. She herself said in her own book that she was a progressive prosecutor. The former deputy sheriff of San Francisco Police said that we and my colleagues were shocked by her proposal in 2005 that would allow the criminals who get drugs, they would get 3 strikes to get nailed for drugs. And the third one, he says, and we're talking about these people that are narcotics arrests. He says that's the most deadliest arrest. And he says we've got officers killed in the line of duty making these arrests. The DA wanted us to release those drug dealers after making narcotics arrests, meaning we're getting possibly killed over this, and the first 2 times we let them go. And it was so bad. Here's another one. This is from the continuing on, the deputy chief of San Francisco PD at the time. Kamala was the most liberal and progressive DA I've worked for in over 30 years in the San Francisco Police Department. I mean, do you understand it's the most radically leftist town in the whole country? And she was the most radical in his 30 freaking years in the police department. I mean, this is mind-boggling. In 2005, the Chief Fong at the time laid out her adverse effects that she believed her policy would cause. If out-of-town dealers learn they can sell drugs without consequences in San Fran, we'll be seeing an influx of sales and the associated crimes that come with it. Narcotics dealers who sell drugs near a school would be released after only a brief detention. Undoubtedly, this would send the wrong message to observant children who would witness drug dealing activity on a regular basis. Officers said that such a program for moral, and she said officers believe, in short, that such a program could be bad for morale for her officers and counter to what every officer is taught. Also, the former deputy chief says despite the chief's letter, Harris and her staff continue to try one more time to push this crazy leftist progressive policy through, but was shot down and abandoned by the liberal leftist San Francisco people. They shot her crazy leftist idea down. And lastly, the San Francisco County Sheriff, during Harris's DA role for 6 years, served as the president of the California Peace Officers Association. And he says the Harris new campaign advertisement does not comport with the truth in any shape or form. She seemed to embrace a hands-off approach with regards to enforcing the law. 2007, she was allowing, look at this, in 2007, she allowed offenders to charge with misdemeanor assault on an officer to qualify for pretrial diversion rather than prosecution. If somebody punched a cop or spat on a cop, they would get counseling instead of jail. That's who this woman is. No, her ad says she's tough on crime. Okay, who is she? I mean, how would you describe her character now that she changed everything? And what does that say about who she is, her character? And do you believe Kamala's changing of positions is authentic or contrived? 3 lines open at 800-288-WBAP. Brooke in Frisco, WBAP.
Hi, I really believe that her changing her mind is definitely contrived. She's a very manipulative person. They're all manipulative, and they do whatever they do. They just want to beat Trump. And she's going to go back on everything if she were to win.
You're not going to believe what I learned today. What? She hired the person who was in charge of running the campaign for the leftist, uber-liberal new prime minister of England. She flew her in, and she has her advising her now. Because he did the same thing. He literally swapped everything out for his radical liberal policies. And now that he's been in office for whatever it was, 6 months or so, he now is doing all the radical leftist policies now that he's in. She brought in that template to be her template. That is everything you need to know. Great call, Brooke. I appreciate you. Eddie in Weatherford, you're on WBAP. Hello.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you.
Glad to have you.
Well, thank you for letting me speak my piece a little bit here. Since Biden got in, things have been going worse and worse. I'm older, and we live on Social Security, but prices are killing us. Just can't hardly make it no more.
But Kamala says Bidenomics is working.
Well,
she said it 5 times in a row this past year.
Anybody thinks. Our prices on our groceries are going up, our gasoline, everything else.
What do you say when she crows about inflation going down?
Well, I think she's an idiot. And
I don't know. Is she an idiot or just a super progressive?
Well, that part I don't know.
I mean, do you think Bernie Sanders is an idiot, or George Soros is an idiot? No, they have a chip in their brain that makes them think like a super leftist. I mean, it just is what it is, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
They just got it in their head. I mean,
I got to roll.
I have watched this.
I got to roll, buddy. I'm sorry to be rude, but we have to go. We're up against a hard break. I appreciate you very much, and I thank you, and I look forward to your next call. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. At 33 after the hour, a Harris spokesperson spars over their lack of interviews. No interviews, and in fact, she was accused of acting like she's in the witness protection program, and I agree. We're going to talk about that coming up next at 33 after the hour on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. All right, before we take Mark in Plano's call, a quick little round of some more of Vice President Harris's radical leftist positions. This is her saying, I want to take away guns and give you some cash. You won't have any more guns.
What would you do about the millions of specifically assault weapons that are already in circulation? What do you do about those?
Well, there are approximately 5 million, to your point, Craig. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program. It's got to be smart. We got to do it.
Mandatory. So you're going to come take my AR-15?
There's no question.
You're going to come take my AR-15? Are you kidding me? Good luck with that. Good luck with that. My button keeps hitting it up. Just for that, I'm gonna buy another one.
So would you ban offshore drilling?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
My little feed keeps playing on its own. Okay, here's the next one. This is her banning fracking.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah, there's no question.
All right, that's fracking.
Yes.
Here's banning offshore drilling.
So would you ban offshore drilling?
Yes. And I've, again, worked on that.
All right, look at her, and she included her laugh. She included her laugh. Here she is saying we're going to abolish the filibuster.
I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal.
Yes, push that radical leftist policy through. And here she is supporting the new Green Deal specifically.
So I am offering a Green New Deal that has been described as one of the most aggressive and progressive.
That's her, aggressive and progressive. Now, how about ending private health insurance, killing our, if you like your plan, you will not have it. Whatever you do, you're not going to have insurance anymore. It'll be government insurance. Here she is on that, and then we'll stop.
So for people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it?
Well, listen, the idea is that everyone gets access to medical care, and you don't have to go through the process of going through an insurance company, having them give you approval, going through the paperwork, all of the delay that may require. Who of us has not had that situation where you got to wait for approval and the doctor says, well, I don't know if your insurance company is going to cover this? Let's eliminate all of that.
Yeah, let's eliminate all of
that. Let's move on.
Move on. That's socialism. That is. Okay, I got so much more, but that's some of them again. All this has changed. It's changed. It's a miracle. All right, let's go to Mark and Plano. The question is, do you believe Kamala is changing her positions, or is authentic, or is it contrived? And what does that say about who she is, her character? And how would you describe Kamala's character? Mark Plano, you're on WBAP. Welcome.
Hey, thank you.
Welcome.
There is nothing authentic about what Kamala is saying. She is going to say whatever she thinks will get her elected. We have to take her at her face value of what she said in the past. She means it. She will go with it once she gets into office. We have to stop it. The media is going to try to hide it, as we know. They're going to try to hide her. They're going to try to, just make over and make her someone that she's not. We know who she is. There's nothing authentic about her. We have to stop her.
What do you think about the leftist, uber-liberal leftist prime minister, the new prime minister of Great Britain, who was a radical leftist and then pretended to be more moderate, ran and won, and now is doing the radical leftism that he's always been for. And the person that was the architect of that campaign from Great Britain, Kamala hired and flew here, and is having her run her campaign now, or at least advise her. What do you think about that? What does that tell you?
Oh, it tells you everything that we know, and I was not aware of that.
Neither was I. I learned it today.
Yeah, and it's crazy but it says exactly what's happening there. He changed his position once he gets into
that's
power.
Who he is.
They're power hungry.
We got to take her at her word.
She wants power.
We got to take her at her word. She says, my values have not changed. She said it like 2 or 3 times in a 16-minute interview with CNN, the only one she's done in 48 days,
Only interview she's done. There's nothing that's changed with her. She's going to say whatever she thinks is going to, that undecided voter in those swing states are going to listen. The media is not going to tell us about it. They're not going to tell them. We have to get the word out. We have to be social media, whatever we need to do, tell one-on-one. We just have to get it out. Swing states are going to matter.
I encourage everybody to share. Follow me on Twitter, and this is posted. I posted this a month or so ago on Twitter. It's pinned at the top. I'm not taking it down until the election is done, because it literally shows every one of these. It's like 10 to 40 second sound bites. There's 30 of them. I mean, I'm going to keep playing these. This is fun, huh?
It's what she said. It's her words. You can't. I love the ads that Trump's put out on that. Just saying everything that she said and in her own words. And I think at the debate, he's going to have to say the same thing when she says something. Yes. Just refer back to what she said.
I'm concerned that he can get the specifics, like the things we're talking about, out. From memory. There's so much. It's unbelievable how much this woman has changed everything on. How about this one? How about free health care for all illegals? Hold on, let me cue this up. This is amazing. This is a classic vintage leftist.
The bill also says, quote, every individual who is a resident of the United States is entitled to benefits for health care services under this act. Not every individual who's a citizen, but every individual who's a resident. Mm-hmm. So you support giving universal health care, Medicare for all, to people who are in this country illegally?
Let me just be very clear about this. I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being from access to public safety, public education, or public health. period.
Okay, so she has let in 14 million illegals in 4 years, and all of them get free health care.
All of them get free
including
healthcare.
Trinidad, who are murdering us, raping us, subjugating us, chaining little children to into their apartments for the whole day and night.
Unbelievable.
Go ahead. Yeah, so there you go. There you go.
Yeah, and I would say Chuck Schumer said it today. I don't know if you've heard that, but where he basically let the cat out of the bag of what their plan is. Their plan is to make them citizens. They know exactly what they're doing. They're trying to get them, amnesty and then get their vote. Who wouldn't vote for them if they're going to give all the benefits? It's ridiculous.
I've also gotten into the analysis from the Wall Street Journal that talks about what the illegals have done. And what they've done is they have dramatically suppressed our wages. They are at, I think it was 2008 levels now because, and the Journal talked about this in an in-depth analysis. And I mentioned this last night because I came across it yesterday. And what it says is that the bulk of the new jobs, the numbers are saying that 40% of all new jobs that Kamala brags about are for foreign-born people. They're not for us. And second of all, the Journal said that it had experts and people who are analyzing all this, and they said that it has young kids, our kids coming out of college and grad school, are competing because 1 quarter of them, it's more than double of our people. 1 quarter of them are not high school graduates. They are taking the jobs of low-income people, and they're depressing their wages. That's African Americans are a huge population in that area. Hispanics are, and of course whites too. Everybody. So they're depressing our poor people and the less educated people of this country that are citizens born and raised here, and they're taking their jobs literally. And then also the kids coming out of school, that like our kids, yours and mine, they are having a much harder time getting that first job in 4 to 8 months. Yes, and they did a whole story on this in the Journal. And second of all, the wages are not what they were in the past for these kids. So they're getting lower because there's also the skilled, quote unquote, and educated illegals are coming in, many of them. They said that's also affecting these kids, our kids, and their wages. So this invasion by Kamala, here's what it is. It is an absolute imported slave class. And you go further, and what's more disgusting and filthy, it is also making us slaves. And I said that with insane passion last night. It is making us into slaves because we are working more, harder, and for less. Because of this, they are turning all of us, lower class, middle class, into freaking slaves. I'm not exaggerating. That's what they are doing to us.
It's so true.
I appreciate.
It's unfortunate that.
Yeah. I appreciate your call, my friend, and I'll be getting back into that when I talk about the another business proposal today that came out from yesterday, and another major expert who was on CNBC this morning, and he's a Kamala supporter. He ripped to shreds her second economic policy reveal. The first one was a disgrace and a joke, the price fixing, Venezuelan-style price fixing. And now this one, the other one that she unveiled, a couple of them yesterday, are being destroyed. Mark Cuban destroyed a chunk of it yesterday, said it'll bankrupt the stock market, which includes all of our 401ks and IRAs and most of us. And then also just destroy the stock market. But it also her surrogate, Ro Khanna, he's liberal. He's a super liberal too. He's from Silicon Valley. He's a Democrat. He's a Kamala spokesperson. He said it will destroy people that start out with small businesses and start to become a success. They will have to sell it because they will not be able to pay the debt for her capital gains tax. Mark Cuban said when he was young and he had a lot of money when he was young and he broke into the whole internet stuff. He said he had a lot of money on paper, in his in numbers. He had no money in his bank, and it would have actually destroyed him. He would have to take out loans to stay afloat, just to stay afloat. And he said that would be destructive. And they tried to also say that everything's fine. She just needs to listen. And CNBC said, well, how do we even know what you're saying is true? The campaign hasn't told us any of this, what you're saying. You're saying this is what's going to happen, what their policies are, but we've not heard Kamala. How can we believe her is what they said? It was amazing. CNBC, the morning people, I don't follow them as far as their politics, but I don't think those people like Trump at all. They like business. and money, which is bipartisan. Green is bipartisan. You know that. All right. Coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, Harris spokesperson spars over lack of interviews, acting like she's a witness protection program, Dana Perino said when he interviewed him this morning. And then Walls and the Associated Press and MSNBC spreading AP hoax, misquoting J.D. Vance's comments on school shootings. But we'll get into that next. And I've got some great quotes, some great stuff to share with you. And I will keep playing her flip-flops, or not her flip-flops, but just her radical leftist positions that she now denies she holds. I have 30 of them. That's next at 8:47 on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. Oh, yeah. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Okay. Here's a few more of Kamala Harris's radical leftist policies. Let's go to mass amnesty for illegals.
I intend to fight for a state that has the largest number of immigrants, documented and undocumented, of any state in this country, and do everything we can to bring them justice and dignity and fairness under the law and pass comprehensive immigration reform. Bring them out from under the shadow.
Amen, sister. Those are our real citizens. They need free health care, free everything, and bring them in and let them take our jobs, particularly the lower educated and lower skilled labor hurt our poor the most, because you want the slave class. You want to keep the poor's wages even lower. And there you go. Here she is wanting to end the death penalty.
There I was, a woman of color who was personally opposed to the death penalty, running to be in that position. Everyone said it couldn't be done. In fact, on election night, my opponent declared his victory.
Okay, so there you go. You did a great job. You're going to abolish the death penalty. You don't want some real punishment for cop killers or, God knows what other kind of killers. Here we go. Abolish prisons. No more prisons. This is a beautiful leftist communist world.
So as president, one of the first acts of business for me would be to get rid of these private detention centers and private prisons.
Yes, no more prisons. Let's go to cash bail. We're going to end cash bail. Let them go. That's what New York City does. Let them out there. Let them go commit the crimes until they kill or rape. Then we'll put them in jail finally. But they got to get to the top before you put them in jail.
Eliminate cash bail. I've been a leader on that in the United States Senate.
Okay, there you go. And let's go to how about imposing a carbon tax on you?
Under my plan, there will also be a carbon fee. We have to monitor whether it's going to be passed on to consumers. But I'm going to tell you that should never be the reason not to actually put a fee, and in particular, carbon fee. We
don't want to call it a carbon tax. She calls it a carbon fee. Isn't that sweet? Oh, let's see. We're going to hold off on the next one. We got a bunch. By the way, the latest forecast from Democrat pollster Nate Silver. This is not the polling numbers. This is the polls, the trends, and the swing states, and the Electoral College in his master prediction. And he now gives Trump a 61.5% chance of winning at this very moment, and Harris a 38%. That's a 23 point advantage for Trump as far as who's going to win. Now, by the way, she's not doing well among black voters as good as Joe Biden. Can you believe that? An old white man did better than her as of right now. She's 15 points below black voters with Joe Biden. Can you believe that? Isn't that amazing? She's not relating to African Americans apparently, or winning them over in the same rate that an old white man did. Isn't that stunning? And she has the same policies, though. Isn't that different? Isn't that interesting? Hispanics, she's behind Joe Biden by 9 points at the same moment in his presidency, running for president last year. And among the young people, she is 20 points below Joe Biden. Young people, she's supposed to let them on fire. No, she's 20 freaking points behind Biden and young people. She lags behind Biden's margin among men by 6 points. And by women, she's 2 points less than Joe Biden. I'm a woman. Yes, I am. She does slightly better than Biden among white college voters, slightly worse among white working class voters. She's running behind Biden among non-white working class voters. So that's Hispanic, Latino, whatever, and African American. Stunning, isn't it? Okay, now, her spokesperson was sparring today over a lack of interviews, quote, acting like she's in the witness protection program is what Dana Perino said. Now, here's liberal Axios. And I'll get into that more, but I want to ask you something. Do you think Harris and Walz, Kamala and Walz, are your vice presidential candidate, are purposely avoiding the press? Do you think they are purposely avoiding the press, and why? What evidence do you cite that they're purposely avoiding the press? I unequivocally believe they are. One 16-minute interview with one journalist, 48 days, I believe, maybe even 49 days into the campaign, one interview. And her rallies they bust in people. The ones in New Hampshire, they've twice bust in people, according to CBS Boston, bust in from Boston. It's amazing. So they have AstroTurf there. But no interviews, and reading a script in front of a rally is not an interview or a press conference. She's had no press conference. So here's what Axios says. So I've got more on that too. When she went up and down the Air Force Two, now she's wearing headphones, pretending like she's talking on her phone. Her phone has nothing on it, according to the press that saw it. Do you think Harris and Walz are purposely avoiding the press? What evidence do you cite about her purposely avoiding the press, and why? 800-288-WBAP is our number. Line's wide open. Chime in right now. We got enough time to pop you on the air. 800-288-9227. Well, let's see what Axios said, a leftist, liberal publication. Harris dodges scrutiny. She's presenting a different ideology than 4 years ago. She isn't getting subjected to the media scrutiny typical for a presidential nominee. She's copying Biden's self-protection media strategy, duck tough interviews, and limit improvisational moments. Why did Biden's top advisors, they say, listen to this, routinely leak word that they found Kamala's performance as VP disappointing or episodically problematic? How did her views change in 5 years, actually 4, from liberal to centrist on health care, immigration, and energy? Why should voters believe her new views are the ones she'd stick with inside the White House? This is a Democrat, a liberal type publication. Here's another one. They were frustrated often with her performance. Biden people were, they say. They found her public performance uneven and not reassuring. They even recently, several of their team on Biden's team worried that she would struggle under the glare of national pressure. They found her risk averse to the point of paralysis. Risk averse. She's afraid to take any risk, and she's paralyzed. This can be your commander in chief with world wars, possibly. They worried about the high turnover rate among her staff. It was 92%, which is stunning. That's worse than most of them. I'll give you a little bit more, but do you think she and Walz are purposely avoiding the press, and why? What evidence do you cite? Second of all, the Associated Press caught lying about what vice presidential candidate, who's our guy with the vice president for Trump, J.D. Vance, about the school shootings. I'll play the audio. They lied, and then Kamala and Walz tweeted out that acting like it was real. It's unbelievable. I'll do that with you next, and then we're going to get into the oh my gosh, the illegals and all the crime. It's worse and worse and worse because of Kamala's wide open borders with Joe. That is next. It's Chris Crock Show next at 9:03 on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.